Rengar Kha'Zix are finally out. We got nerf on Katarina as well as Darius, and Riot is really making marksman the most OP role in the game. Welcome to patch 2.2b.
Just for the thrill of it, nothing counterfeit with you, just the thrill of it. Just for the thrill of it, nothing counterfeit.
Yo guys, how's everyone doing? This is your guy AssassinDave. Welcome back to another patch breakdown. Today we're bringing to you a lot of very exciting and refreshing news. A lot of updates I really like, and some updates are kind of bizarre, but we're gonna go through all of them so you guys will stay informed. Before we get started though, I know about half of y'all beautiful, sexy people watching here have yet to join the coolest, greatest, baddest family in the world of League of Legends Wild Rift. If you enjoy the content, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn the bell on to all notification bells. We upload videos, we do live stream, and we do giveaways on a daily basis. And if you like to watch me in real life sharing some incredible mukbang experience, make sure to subscribe to my mukbang channel, Dave and CC. With that, let's jump into the video. Patch 2.2b is already live, and a lot of you guys have already played it. Let me know in the comment section what do you guys think about patch 2.2b. Now, the two new champions, Rengar and Kha'Zix, have yet to come out, and I think they're coming out May 6th. For both of them, because there's going to be a huge event that's related to these two champions, and it's going to be really fun. It sounds really fun. Basically, if these two champions rival against each other and one kill the other, the one who came out victorious will gain a passive. You know, that's just sounds really cool, and I can't wait to find out how it's played. Now, I'm going to attach a link for the official patch notes in description, so if you want to read through the events, the accessories and stuff, make sure to go ahead and do that. I want to mainly focus on the champion changes, the item changes, and some summoner changes as well. So let's get started. First off, we got Darius. Darius has finally gotten a nerf. The nerf is actually not that huge. The base health has been reduced by 40 points, and the base health regen has been reduced from 9 to 7. That's actually pretty decent, to be honest, because right now, Darius, I think, is in a decent spot. I really don't think Darius is that OP in a competitive scene, because it's easily countered. You can use a lot of champion like Gragas, like Akali, and just straight up abuse Darius in a lot of ways. In fact, a good Jax player will also win against Darius, as I mentioned before. But last patch, when they buffed Darius skill 1 regen, it really made him really unkillable. You know, Darius can build full tank and still do insane amount of damage 1 versus 5 the whole team. So I think the changes are nice because I think his damage is fine, just to make it easier for enemy team to kill him, you know, so this is really nice. Next up, we got his brother, Draven. Draven's damage has also gotten a nerf, so it's interesting how they decided to focus on his brothers right here. It's kind of biased, I would say, you know, nerf both of them. Draven's nerf is actually pretty huge. The spinning axe damage have went down by 10 points, 55 to 45, all the way from 70 to 60 at highest rank. That's insane. So Draven is actually performing really well, especially in low elo against people who don't know how to go against Draven. But Draven is a champion that is high risk, high reward, I would say, right? Because if you don't win early game, if you don't get those kills, if you don't proc those passive, and you get killed, you lose half of your passive and you don't really get a lot of gold, and eventually you become useless because Draven's damage is pure auto attack. It doesn't have a lot of mobility. If you notice, good Draven player, if they're able to snowball, they usually stay in the team fight. They don't really run away. They keep on auto attacking with the skill 1 because they can regenerate really fast with those lifesteal items. Now with the damage nerf, I'm not so sure about this one, to be honest. I think Draven was in a healthy spot. Yes, it might be a noob stomper, just like Darius. So I guess that's why they nerfed it, mainly for a lower elo. Still, I think the nerf is a little bit harsh. Alright, let's take a look at Evelynn. Evelynn has finally got a nerf. A lot of people complain that, Dave, yes, you are rank 1 Evelynn and, you know, you main Evelynn and stuff, but it's too strong. We gotta nerf that shit. And turned out, developer heard you, and they finally decided to nerf Evelynn. And what they did is actually increase the cooldown of the ultimate by a lot. At level 1 ultimate, the cooldown was increased by 20 seconds. That's a 20% increase from 100 to 120 seconds. And the level 3 ultimate is increased by 10 seconds, went from 60 to 70. That is insane for Evelynn users, but it doesn't really decrease the damage. So if you go in diving at the right time, you're still gonna get a really fruitful result. If you watch my live stream and see how I play Evelynn, I don't think this change will affect me that much because I'm really cautious with how I use my ult anyways. I want to make sure every time I use my ult, I try to get something out of it. I don't dive in and just try to use my ultimate escape. Or maybe sometime when I use ultimate to steal Baron or Dragon, that's also possible. But I never was an Evelynn ultimate abuser. I don't just use it whenever it comes off cooldown. It really have to be a reason for it. So I don't think this is gonna affect me that much. It is a decent nerf though. The cooldown increased by a lot. Next up, we have Galio Buff. Now, I don't understand it. I thought Galio was always in a healthy spot, even after a nerf. But then they were like, oh, we might over nerf this. Apparently, there was a little bug that made us like kind of misassessed how strong Galio was, so we nerfed it too much. Now we're gonna kind of bring it back. So what it did is it increased health per level. So now Galio gonna be a lot tankier by the time he hits level 15. And on top of it, they also reduced the cooldown on the passive. So now instead of every 4 seconds, it's every 3 seconds now. You can just go up, walk to people, and smash with the passive. That means, like in team fights, this guy can't just walk up and do a lot of damage with that passive, because one of the core damage source for Galio actually is that passive. So reducing the cooldown made him a lot stronger, a lot more of a threat, because it's really hard to trade with him now. Before there is like a downtime, every time Galio smashes the passive, there's a few seconds you can trade with him because he doesn't have anything else besides his skills, and if you use those, he really doesn't have anything else, right? But now the cooldown got reduced to 3 seconds. Imagine that, like every 3 seconds gonna be able to smash you. Now we got a skill 1 buff as well, Wind of War. Percentage health damage per AP ratio increased, actually went back from 1.5% to 2%. Once again, that's a huge buff to him. I think Galio now is definitely a tier S mid. If you wanna play something mid that can help you rank up, go Galio. This champion is busted, let me tell you. The next up, we have Katarina Nerf. Finally, a justified nerf. First, we got the passive. Damage from 72 points to 62 points at lowest, and 240 to 230 points at highest. So only 10 damage reduction, not that much. Percentage wise, it's actually higher than 10%, so I guess it's decent. But you know, if you just look at the numbers, it's not that much. And your skill 3, which is your dash, the range have decreased from 6.5 to 6. I like it, but also I think the biggest problem for Katarina was that his passive proc radius is higher than how big the circle indicates. You think you're kind of far away from Katarina, but you will still get hit by the passive. Again, I think it's similar to Draven and Darius. Katarina is really a noob stomper. In competitive games, I don't think the champ is that good. You pick Gragas, you pick Galio, you counter her straight up. You know, any qual control counter her straight up because her early game is really weak. Her laning phase is really weak. So if you just get champions that can bully her in those aspects and mirror wherever she goes, you win. The big challenge for me for Katarina was always just being like getting hit by the passive randomly. But that wasn't addressed here. I guess the nerf is fine. I will have to see how many people still play Katarina and how much of impact she still has in the team, in the game. We'll find out, you know, because right now I haven't seen many people, and the Katarina main still playing Katarina, still doing really well against noobs. And especially how the NA rank system is working right now, it's really allowing a lot of entry-level players to play against the highest level players, and it's just not fair. Imagine having Katarina Diamond 2 main, which is the highest rank in NA right now, server number 1 Katarina player, went against a platinum player. In my solo queue yesterday, I was playing my Diamond account just because I'm Diamond. They gave enemy a Diamond, which happened to be server number 1 Katarina, and my mid was an Emerald 4, you know, a plat who just promoted to Emerald 4. Like, how is that fair? You know, I mean, that's my biggest problem. You know, I don't think the nerf or buff actually changes the champion. Next up, we have Leona. Leona got a really nice buff, and I think Leona might actually got promoted to the best support role, to be honest, champion. The base health regen went from 7.5 to 9, so you can stay in lane a lot longer. Your passive sunlight damage increased from 25 to 33 at the lowest, to 137 to 145 at the highest. So right now, basically every time Leona goes in with a combo, your team can proc a lot higher damage. Imagine this comboing with a lot of other champions like Misfortune, like Draven. Damn, I think the damage is gonna be really, really high. Now, given that Draven did get a nerf, but you can combo with a lot of other champions. Even Xayah. Xayah needs some qual control to set up so she can line up those feathers. With that being said, Leona can combo really, really well with Xayah and stuff. And especially, you're about to see, Xayah got another buff! I don't even understand why that happened. Next up, we got Ziggs. Ziggs finally got a nerf. Not a big one, mainly the cooldown on the skill 1, the bouncing bump, because right now Ziggs are throwing way too much skills, giving very little time for enemy to react. And on top of it, this guy already does a lot of damage late game. His scaling is insane. So the nerf is justified. I don't know if this nerf is enough, or is Ziggs still gonna be one of the most annoying mid lane in the game. Now, let's move on to the dual carry changes, the marksman changes that we're talking about, the ADCs. First off, we got Ashe. Ashe cooldown for the skill 2 have been reduced yet again. I think last time when they buffed Ashe, they also buffed cooldown related stuff. I think make other skills cooldown shorter. Now they're gonna make skill 2 cooldown shorter also by 1 second for all levels, which is interesting. I don't know how it's gonna change Ashe. I think Ashe is still a dead weight champion, to be honest. This champion just doesn't do any damage. Late game skilling is kind of pathetic. If you want to skill, like, why not skill with any other marksman instead of Ashe, you know? She has no mobility whatsoever. And now let's take a look at Tristana. Got another buff. Apparently Tristana was not decent enough, and they were like, oh, let's just buff it again. So skill 3, explosive charge, which is Tristana main damage stores. Now damage increased by 5 points, all the way to 20 points at the highest rank. So 65 to 70 at lowest rank, 110 to 130 at the highest rank. And ultimate on Tristana got a huge buff, 300 points damage, changed to 350, and the highest rank is 500 to 550. Basically 50 points across the board increase. Basically, Tristana is gonna blow stuff up. You know, I already played against Tristana last night after the update. She seemed very, very strong. She seemed in a really good spot right now. I will even comfortably put my chips on Tristana being one of the best ADCs in the game right now. Probably better than Xayah, I don't know. She just seems like she does insane amount of damage from a really safe distance, especially at high levels. And if you haven't tried it, or you bought Tristana, you never got a chance to use it because champion was weak before, get ready to practice Tristana, because this might be the next big thing in the game. And next up, I have another surprising update for Varus. Varus got another buff. Recently, I've been seeing a lot of Varus players from among the top tier players. I don't know why. And Varus was doing really well. And now Varus got another buff. This is gonna increase like the motivation to play this champ. The buff is not actually small, it's huge. First, we got base mana increase from 345 to 390. 45 points increase, so you can use your skill a lot more often in lane. Number 2 is your skill 2 buff. The missing health damage, and this is a huge one, okay? At level 1, 6.5% to 9.75%. And now it's increased from 6.5% to 13%. So basically, went from 10% to 13%, a 3% increase, a 30% increase on the highest damage. At level 15, the highest missing health damage that you can do went from 25% to 27%. Again, it just doubled the damage. I don't know why they did this. Varus is gonna be insane now, activating that skill 2, because if you don't know how Varus skill 2 works, every time Varus uses that auto attack, he put a stack on people, and then if you use skills, it will proc those stacks and it will do damage. And that basically is skill 2. It does damage based on the missing health, so they increase that by a lot. And also, when you activate skill 2, your next piercing arrow, your next skill 1 damage, is also gonna do an insane amount of missing health damage. So basically, you have double the missing health. One is proccing the passive, one is because the piercing arrow does a lot of damage. So you can combo those and do burst damage that can just shock your enemy. So now got a buff. I mean, I don't know. They really try to make all the marksmen the most OP role in the game, right? Because they're gonna encourage a lot of people to play marksman like this. Varus, Tristana, and next up we got a Vayne buff. I think it's a decent buff, to be honest. Bonus 80 increase from 20 to 30, that's 50% increase. At level 1. The highest level went from 40 to 50. So basically at level 3 ultimate, you're gonna have a lot more AD. At level 1 now, you're gonna have a lot more AD and you can do a lot more damage with it. The cooldown of the ultimate also reduced by 10 seconds at level 1 and slowly go back to normal, which is 60 seconds at level 3. So now instead of 90 seconds at level 1, you're gonna have 80 seconds on Vayne's ultimate. You can use it a lot more often. 80 seconds is a very short ultimate, by the way. A lot of the ultimates like in 2 minutes. Look at Evelynn. Went from 100 seconds to 120 at level 1. That's 2 minutes. You're gonna get your ult around like 2 minutes, right? 140. That's where you're gonna get level 5. How you're gonna hit level 5 is Evelynn jungle. So if you use it right away, it's still gonna be like 345, like 10 seconds before dragon spawn. That's gonna be just very, very close. You're not gonna have your ultimate for the dragon fight, and that's very dangerous. But for Vayne, you can abuse this stuff. It's only 80 seconds, right? So when you have it, you can use it, and then wait for dragon, you're gonna definitely have it again. Next up, we got Xayah Buff. I don't know why, because like I said, Xayah is already tier S, tier OP maybe. One of the best marksmen in the game, best ADCs, and they decided, nah, it's not best enough. Let's make it better. Why not? You can always make shit better, you know? First, we got skill 2, the Deadly Plumage. The mana reduced from 60 to 50, and the cooldown got reduced by 1 second across all levels. Number 2 is your skill 3, Blade Caller. When you call back all the feather, the root duration increased by 25% from 1 second to 1.25 seconds. I don't know what to say, man. I mean, whoever did this balance changes must be simping for Xayah. I mean, there's only reasonable explanation I have for it. Like, Xayah was always tier S, and what is with this buff? What is with this buff? Next up, let's move to item changes. We got 2 support items of the Ardent Sensor as well as a Harmonic Echo. Both got nerfed in the term of the pricing of the item. The pricing increased by a lot. For Ardent Sensor, it's increased by 200 gold overall, and for Harmonic Echo, it's increased by 100 gold overall. So it just got a little bit more expensive and gonna save up a lot more money before you can purchase them. I guess it's an indirect nerf to mage supporters, because mage supporters are really strong in the game right now. So with this 2 nerf, it really should limit like how often people pick Janna or let's say Lux. You know, those type of support champion that can be really annoying in lane. And next up, we have summoner changes. My personal favorite, Conqueror, got a huge nerf. The stack duration went from 8 seconds to 6 seconds. It's a 2-second decrease throughout all levels, which is really interesting because I like this change. You know, a lot of mages are using Conqueror now because how easy it is to proc this stuff and how long it stays there. So this nerf on Conqueror indirectly nerfed a lot of mage champions, to be honest, because they're not gonna use Conqueror anymore. They're probably gonna go back to Electrocute, which made Conqueror more, I guess, role specific. Right now, you really have to be a fighter or assassin to pick this up because you're gonna be staying in those fights and keep on fighting. Next up, we got spell changes. Barrier. Barrier's cooldown went from 90 seconds to 120 seconds. That's a 30-second increase across the board, and that is insane. You know, finally, we're not gonna see Barrier everywhere, right? Everyone take Barrier, mid lane, top lane, marksman. Everybody takes it because it's so cheap and there's very little playroom. So now, justice has been served. Last but not least, we have the dragon changes. So last time, I think one of the Riot employee did a survey, and I participated in the survey asking which 2 dragons do you think the most impactful dragons in the game, and it turned out people voted mainly Cloud Dragon and Infernal Dragon. They also have internal study that showed the same thing. You know, I guess when you catch those dragons, you're gonna have a higher win rate, like the Cloud Infernal. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. You know, for Infernal Dragon, we got damage bonus dropped from 8% to 6%. For Cloud Dragon, we have movement speed reduced from 7.5% to 6%. So quite a bit of nerf all across the board for 2 dragons. Obviously, the respective Elder Dragon version has also been nerfed because the original version got nerfed, you know. So very interesting nerfs all across the board. Let me know in the comment section which one you think are reasonable, which one you think are kind of BS. Definitely like, subscribe, and turn the bell on to all notification bells. With that, AssassinDave signing off. We'll see you guys next time. Bye now.
Just for the thrill of it, nothing counterfeit.